So you want a customized model that's cool and unique, but also you're afraid to cut the mini up, not feeling confident in sculpting new details, and you're afraid that you will ruin your mini. So you get overwhelmed and quit on kit bashing altogether. So today I'm gonna give you some beginner's tips on kit bashing I wish I'd known sooner. And this will make kit bashing fun, easy, and unlocking its full potential. Starting off with the first thing that I figured out, which is an ARSH Truth. This thing is gonna allow you to have a variety on your model without doing backflips. This will also allow you to get your creative juice flowing and you'll feel like a cat in a catnip store. I'm talking about having access to multiple kits and bits to combine. You can't quite kit bash if you don't have kits to bash. The bigger your pile of shame is, the bigger the pool of bits to combine, even though maybe sometimes it becomes a little bit too much to handle, so smaller pile of shame, yeah? Manageable pile of shame is gonna be very good for kit bashing. There's a couple of boxes that I refused to paint in my pile of shame video, and today they're gonna be useful. After getting all the sprues I needed all together, sort of, I'm gonna start selecting bits while I gradually forming an idea on where I want this kit bash to go. And here I have to be honest and say, at some point it got a little bit messy, but there is something that can help you visualize many things about the models and its pose without actually gluing anything together. More on that later. So let's choose the legs and torso I'm gonna use. I personally love taking regular, normal Marines and turning them into like lieutenants, sergeants, stuff like that. No, important people. And the first thing that I wanted to pick to make my Space Marine more fancy and important was the loincloth. But here's the problem. Some parts are not gonna fit, period. And you know what you need to do to make room. As you can see, the cloth really doesn't fit with the bulging lower part of the Marine. We gotta cut it. I used to be literally afraid to death to doing this because if I fail, both bits are gonna be trash, or at least that's what I thought. This next tip is to help you out with that fear, and it's gonna allow you to be more confident with your cuts. First, get a new blade for your X-Acto knife. I think what cooks say about knife in the kitchen also applies to blades in our hobby. A dull blade, it's way more dangerous than a sharp one. Sure, a sharp one will open up your finger like it's nothing, but it also gives you much needed control on what you are doing. More control, safer. It's exactly like in the kitchen. Using a sharp knife gives you more control and more precision. So it's just about a new sharp blade and patience. Be safe with the very sharp blade. You'll need to go slow. So you'll need to be patient and not rush things because otherwise accidents happen. And we don't want that, right? Or do we? And this in time will lead you to feel more in control, which in turn means that you're gonna be more confident and less afraid. Just remove one bit at a time, always checking in with your fit if you have to cut more. Don't be cocky with cutting because you are gonna get hurt. Time to move on and choosing other parts of the model. So weapons, ornaments, blah, 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 blah. And here's where I went a little bit into a back and forth phase, like I mentioned before, because I couldn't quite decide what kind of pose I wanted for the arm, nor the weapons I wanted. So it doesn't help that it's pretty hard to figure out the inclination of the arm before I cut it off from the sprue. And that's annoying because I really want to keep my bits in the sprue. I have no time whatsoever to organize all my bits. No time at all. I'm out, guys, bye. But you know what does help? Yeah, the thing that I mentioned at the beginning. I think you figure out by now what I'm talking about. Sometimes it is annoying because it doesn't fix all the parts of the model. Like, they're kind of delicate, you know, it's not glued on. So it is a good way to have a general view of the model. And of course, I'm talking about poster tag. It gives you a general idea on how the model is gonna look all put together. So I really wanted to use this sword from the Black Templar kits, but I didn't want the hands to show because they're pretty recognizable with the chains. And I know there are chains still there, but we're gonna just ignore that. So I started cutting up the sword of the Black Templar's kit and the sword of the arms I wanted to use it. Then I made a realization, you know? I realized I cut the wrong arm. Bugger that. Starting again, back from the beginning, I do the exact same thing, only with the right arm. And then I glued both the sword and the other part of the hilt, I think that's what that's called, using a sprue glue. That really helped a lot with the sticking, especially with the smaller parts. I think you maybe should pin them if you want to be safer. That would be smart. So again, the poster tag to dry fit the model, and the head I pick also from the Black Templar box set, backpack, which belongs for the kit. I also picked some shoulder pad from the new kit of the Vanguard something, but I had to cut off some of the extra beefy shoulder thingy in order to make it fit. That's pretty much it. I then picked some ornaments. Black Templar kits are so good for this, and sometimes you have to kind of work around them because they're so recognizable as Black Templars, but that's it. That's pretty much it. That's my model. I think he looks really cool. Announcement time! Don't skip, you fucking bitch of shit. So I just basically lost my other job. Yay! No kidding, I cried. Here's where I need you guys. Everything you can do to support this channel, from subscribing, liking this shit, sharing the videos, yada yada yada. Join me on Patreon or book a private coaching thing. Or do you need therapy? I can do that. All jokes aside, anything you can do in this moment to help this channel going, I would be deeply appreciated. Thank you. And hey, I might be pathetic, but at least they haven't cut the part. So far we talked about the importance of having spare parts, kits and bits, how to get over the fear of cutting up models, and the importance of poster tag. The scariest thing of all. Let's start painting the damn thing, shall we? Personally, what gets me super overwhelmed and scared is to see these amazing creators making super cool conversion, sculpting parts, reposing, sculpting the armpits thingy, completely turning the tables on the model's origins. Kind of makes me feel like a little bit of a loser, but I wish I could have given past me this advice. When you start something new, whatever that is, for instance, I'm learning drums. You are not gonna start with complicated stuff like complicated fills or complicated grooves. Aren't I though? No, of course not. I mean, of course you're gonna start with the easy stuff, the basics. Because if you try the hard stuff first, chances are that you're gonna get frustrated because the results won't reflecting what you expect. And you'll probably expect it'll look like those big creators kit bash. And it just won't. What actually held me back from kit bashing was always trying super complex and edgy reposing, sculpting, and trust me, it got messy quick, and it made me quit uncountable times. So my advice here is not to overcomplicate it. Start small. Start with a little cut, a little reposing, and then when you feel confident with that, you can start introducing clays, doing it sparingly at the beginning, not doing big stuff like loincloth or stuff like that. Don't try prematurely to sculpt detail or reposing complicated stuff. I did it and it got me so frustrated that I completely abandoned any kit bashing because I was so afraid that I would ruin the model. So learn from my mistakes, I guess. So I finished my airbrush work by just spraying some contrast paint to give some saturation back to that very dull yellow. Now it's time for the shadows, and I'm gonna apply that's gloss varnish. And I'm gonna apply it on my model because I'm gonna shade with oils. I have various colors of oils. I probably make a tutorial for this at some point. And basically I'm just recess shading, glazing a little bit with the oils. I was trying to experiment a bit. I'm still trying to figure out the exact dilution to do this, so bear with me. After that, I sprayed the whole model with matte varnish and I started working on the reds, various parts of the reds, highlighting it with the lighter color. This paint job took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I guess I got to a decent level I'm kind of happy with. I just basically finished up all the other details. Here what went wrong is that I didn't have a plan and I kind of mixed a bunch of different techniques together and I ended up just losing a bunch of time. That's pretty much it. But I got the model done and that's the important thing. And now it's time for the final reveal. But yeah, what about that base? Yeah, cool me like that kind of deserves a equally cool base, right? Otherwise, the mini is gonna look like it's standing on your cat's litter box sand. And you don't want that, do you? So watch this video so you can learn how I made this base. Thank you, bye!